So I'm taking a look at this body I'm about to cut the wheel wells out and the bottom part that's kind of excess. And I'm kind of new to applying bodies, buying extra ones, so I've noticed that there's this coating over it, which is probably meant for painting. So you want to paint it and then peel that off so you don't get any on the outside. And I didn't really notice that was on there. It wasn't in the instructions. Let's go through those to see what the deal is. So look for that if you're buying a new body. They want you to wash it, paint it, and here it shows all the screw points. So in thinking about that, I'm also thinking about different camera positions, because when I pulled off the top of the chassis here, completely off, we noticed that we still have a lot of stuff in the front in the way of the camera view. So even like looking, forward, you got these fenders, the mud flap things, you can't see through that, so I may end up moving the camera forward, to the right, and maybe even up here in front, give it a real forward position. I really want to see what's in front of the vehicle, and then climb over it. This stuff does peel off pretty easily. It's really clear, but you can see that there's a difference in the clarity. So we got nice clear look. We'll have to see. Okay, so this body is cut and placed on, and it looks like the wheel wells are going to fit right in place. They fit nicely. But as we can see, we've got a significant distance from the bumper to the rear. So this is a good, because the other body comes behind the bumper here, it's a good inch longer. Although you'll notice on this body we do have the bumper included in the molding, which on our other kit we don't. And that's the same for the front. It's going to hit this bumper here because we have a molded bumper, and if I cut this bumper off, it would probably fit down inside there more. I'm not sure that if I'm going to do that, but overall I think this thing fits on pretty good. I think it's going to look cool. Some tips in cutting. I started out with an X-Acto blade and moved on to some scissors. I would imagine something like they're picturing here would be a lot easier to cut this body with, so keep that in mind. I thought I'd be able to do it with an X-Acto blade, and that's not the case. The bumper came out kind of choppy for me when I used an X-Acto blade, so I moved on to scissors. And, I'm gonna have to sand some of that out, but I think the scissors did a lot better job. So keep that in mind when you're going. And this is nice and clear. I am not gonna cut these windows out for starters. And we're gonna roll with that and see what it looks like FPV. All right, let's see. I'm gonna do some mods and see if I can get this thing attached. Because of the size difference, I said earlier that I was gonna try and use the roll cage, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do it without the roll cage and set it up that way. The next thing I'm gonna do is stand these posts up, remove these bumpers, and affix this body so that it lines up with these mud flaps and get it fastened on. And afterwards I'm going to decide what to do with the bumpers, whether I'm going to maybe leave these bumpers off when I'm FPVing, or cut the body some more so that the bumpers fit. I don't want to move the bumpers out, especially the front one, because I moved it in from every time I went into a ditch I was hitting this, so maybe I don't want a bumper. Who knows? We'll see. We can see here I've got the body placed on kind of the way I want it. Bumpers taken off, front and back. I'm still using, just laying it on right now, the Velcro right in place where it used to be, and then I've added the rear bridge as well in the same fashion, because I think I am going to do Velcro under here instead of drilling through and putting pins in. I think it's gonna suit my needs. So I think it looks pretty cool, and if I were gonna paint it, I would keep it just like this. I did raise the body maybe a little higher than the other wheel wells were. I raised the front up by just 1 notch, and of course the back has to be custom anyway, but I wanted these fenders to be right in line right there. So I think they are. The center lines up with those wheel wells pretty well. I figured it kind of would, because this looks like, the old body looks like a Jeep Grand Cherokee anyway. Like a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And then the back hangs out. So I'm gonna have to see how that is, if I get hung up anywhere, you know. Cut that up and maybe put the old bumper back on. I do get a little bit of wheel touch here in the back, so probably gonna round that area out. Just round that part out, and then same kind of thing in the front, getting a little bit of wheel touch in the front, nothing abnormal. Usually do have to mess with that. And the same kind of thing, if I add the front bumper back in, I will probably cut this portion of the bumper off. But for now, I'm gonna fix this on and take an FPV drive and play with some camera positions. So this is gonna be the fun part.